Okay, good morning everybody. I think it's about time to start this ceremony. You just continue or you? But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Because, thank you very much. My name is Christine Gispen de Wiet. I'm the chair of the Sobibor Foundation. And I must say my first words are, I am overwhelmed with the amount of people who are joining us here for our ceremony. Really great. All these young people, people from abroad, because I also know that relatives of Thomas Blad are here. We even have the television. We have our own group. We have the province of Gelderland. We have Mr. Romanchuk, Starosta. From Vlodava. Welcome everybody. It's really special for us. I'm not sure whether we ever before had such a large amount of people joining us for this event. But of course, the event is to you, Ivona and Joanna. So it's an honor and a true pleasure for me to welcome you here all for the Rachel Borzykowski Award. It has a tradition and a history. The Rachel Borzykowski Medal is awarded annually to someone whose work and personal commitment has contributed in a special way to the objective of the Sobibor Foundation. No, I correct myself already to Sobibor because you corrected me this morning. Increasing awareness of the former Nazi extermination camp Sobibor and everything that happened there during the Second World War. And we're here just on that spot. I welcome you, Ivona, Krishka, and Joanna Daschuk, and your fans and family, I already said. You brought many. I met you as two wonderful persons. Special welcome also to the Dutch ambassador, Mrs. Daphne Bergsma, and the Starosta again of the Vlodava Powiat, Mr. Romanchuk. And last but not least, Mrs. Ursula Schlawek, the proud rector of the Zapora High School in Lublin, where Ivona and Joanna teach for many years. Maybe, or I wrote down probably, most of you know who was Rachel Borzykowski, but nevertheless I tell you, maybe for you students, I tell you in short why her name was given to this award. Rachel Borzykowski was born in 1923. She was the first wife of Jules Schelvis, founder of the Sobibor Foundation, and only survivor of the 14th transport from Westerbork to the Nazi extermination camp Sobibor. Rachel and Jules met in Amsterdam. Her parents had fled anti-Semitic Poland before the war. Although Rachel was born in Amsterdam, she and her parents were considered foreigners. And when the Germans announced that foreign Jews had to report for work elsewhere, they decided to marry. So Rachel would acquire Dutch nationality in order to prevent deportation. They were 18 and 21. From the date of 15 July 1942, the transports from Westerbork of both Dutch and foreign Jews began, initially to Auschwitz. In May 1943, Rachel and Jules, together with Rachel's parents and brother, were arrested in their home and sent to Westerbork, and from there they were deported a week later on the 1st of June to the unknown East. Jules was put to work elsewhere after arriving in Sobibor, but Rachel and her parents were gassed immediately. Jules Schelvis spent a large part of his life writing down and telling what had happened to the Jews during the war. The way he has done that has moved many. He was determined to keep the memory alive of his beloved first wife, Rachel, who died at the age of only 20 at this place here. And it is for that reason that the Rachel Borzykowski Award was initiated by Jules in 2003. And how wonderful it is that we have two previous laureates among us, Florian Ros from Borzykowski Stanislav Hans and Dude Sietsma, Dude at the back from the province of Gelderland. Jules was very precise about the rules and regulations for this award, and he entrusted both Jetje Mannheim, who unfortunately cannot join us today because of COVID, hits everyone at moments that we don't want it to. The chair of the Sobibor Foundation, who succeeded Jules, so she was the first one after him, and Rosette Katz, former board member and also personal friend and trustee of Jules, to decide who would be awarded. And I'm very happy that you, Rosette, can take over from Jetje here to personally address Ivona and Joanna. I thank Thomas Oleski through you, Lucas, because he is also ill and cannot be here, and Lucas Kowalski for their help and hospitality to have us here. It seems that everything has come together today on this place. Beeldenswerk Stanislav Hans, the Sobibor Foundation, the museum, and the province of Gelderland. All contribute to the commemoration of this place and its victims. All have the intention to tell the story to the next generation. That's you. Therefore, it's wonderful that so many students have joined Ivona and Joanna today. This being the core of why both are laureated. Thank you. I hand over to you, Rosette, to give the laudatio to you too. Thank you.
I feel honored on behalf of Jetje to speak out this text of hers. I came to Sobibor in anger, but I went home with hope. These are the words of one of the participants of our commemoration journey, and it is justified to say that they could be spoken due to the commitment of Ivona and Joanna to Holocaust education. This is how it started. 14 years ago, on a cloudy day, when our group stepped out of the synagogue in Lodava to visit Sobibor, Ivona was waiting there for us with a group of students. She had rang the synagogue a day earlier to ask if there would be any activities in Sobibor the next day, as that would be the 19th of April and Holocaust Memorial Day in Poland, the day of the uprising in the Warsaw Ghetto, 1943. The synagogue employee replied, yes, you can come, because the Sobibor Foundation will be here, but forgot to inform us. So there we were, with a group of next of kin of Sobibor victims, a full program for the day, and a very inspiring question. Ivona's request was so unusual and promising that we were immediately in favor of accepting and changing our program. We asked our group if they agreed as well, which they did. And so together we left Lodava and headed for Sobibor. In Sobibor, we walked the site together and told the history highlights, after which we visited the Lane of Remembrance. There we told the story of Sally Andriessen, a 10-year-old Dutch girl with pigtails who was remembered on a stone by her non-Jewish classmate who had only recently found out about her tragic death. As, since his youth, Sally had always lingered in his mind, he had decided to honor and remember her with a stone at the Lane of Remembrance. On leaving, All parties expressed their warm feelings about this experience that was mutually marked as impressive and important. Ivona promised that she and her students, same time, same place, would be present again next year. A promise she kept, and which was to be continued in the years that followed, and in the years that followed. And in 2014, Joanna joined Ivona. What struck us as extraordinary is that both women don't teach history, but geography and English. They are convinced that Holocaust education is important to the generation of nowadays. Both of them were able to take the Yad Vashem course, where they were taught to educate pupils to raise their awarenesses about how to prevent crimes against humanity and give them a better understanding of the past and present of Jews in Poland. With this basis, they set off to undertake many activities of all different kinds. They took part in seminars and trainings at universities and institutions. They organized trips to other campsites abroad and invited former inmates to their school. They sought cooperation with other schools from all parts of Europe and guided the students that came to Poland. They have a great commitment to the Jewish history of their hometown, Lublin, and are in contact with the Jewish community there. They organize workshops on the old Jewish cemetery in Lublin, make excursions along the Lyon-Feldhandel train, developed and implemented a city game for youngsters about Henjo Zitomirski. No wonder the Sobibor Foundation is delighted to be able to work with these two powerful women every year when they come to Sobibor on their commemoration journey, although unfortunately there could be no meetings during the corona pandemic. But we also want to mention the students that participate in this project, and we want to praise them. Because this Holocaust program is not part of their curriculum, and they enter it voluntarily. Ivona and Joanna encourage their students to do research on people and subjects regarding the Holocaust. And every year, these young people present results to our group in Sobibor outside, no matter what the weather is like. And we all remember gatherings in the pouring rain, which did not bother organization nor students. With this new museum, from now on it can be done inside and everybody can stay dry and healthy. For instance, students presented us the history of their fellow cityman, Leon Velhenter, who was, next to Sasha Peszczerski, one of the brave leaders of the uprising in Sobibor on this day in 1943, and who was so painfully killed after surviving the war. They had a stone placed at the Lane of Remembrance for his wife and children, who couldn't escape the Sobibor gas chambers. The already mentioned 9-year-old Jewish boy Henjo Zitomirski from Lublin, who was not able to avoid the Majdanek gas chambers, was brought to life in a document that consisted of photos and the story of what is known about his life, all beautifully handwritten on fine paper and bound with decorative cords. I invite you to have a look later on this table, where several of these works, fine works, are spread out. Oh, yeah. This careful and accurate presentation of all their surveys were an extra sign of their commitment and respect for those who suffered. Year by year, our cooperation developed and became more and more interactive. For the students, the Sobibor Foundation organized a guided tour on the Sobibor site, and the students presented us the outcome of their research. We had a commemoration together in which everybody participated, and after that the students were able to talk to the family of the victims we were traveling with and ask them questions. This was a very important next step in our cooperation, as people could open up by the interest of these youngsters, whom they could tell their story to, a story that frequently had not been told many times before. The outcome of our gatherings therefore could be that people went home with hope, like I mentioned in the opening quote, something they would never have anticipated before they left for Poland. Besides the effort that you, Ivona and Joanna, put into these meetings, the commitment that you show and convey to your students and to us is of great importance. You are aware of the effects of what exclusion and persecution can do to people, and how 80 years ago it led to an unprecedented disaster. You are aware that it could happen again if we don't stay alert and are indifferent to people who do not belong to our day-to-day world or contacts. And so, with your lessons, you teach your students that they have a responsibility for how to live their lives and how important it is to make the right choices at the right time, as everyone always reaches a point at which he or she can say, no, I won't cross that line. The present political situation in Europe, and especially here in Eastern Europe, shows the importance of this awareness more clearly than it has ever done since World War II. Zipporah High School is a very lucky school to have teachers like Ivona and Joanna, whom we are so grateful. For us, it is an honor and a sign of hope to hand the Borzykowski Award to both of you. Amen.
Would you please come forward? The medal which you made yourself, and this is the check which goes bedankt. It's my first one.
Bardzo chciałam wszystkim podziękować za przybycie na tą uroczystość.